Hello and welcome to Star Midday News with me, Nadima, Umar, Uthman. Coming up. Local governance expert Dr. Frederick Odro blames collective failure on the part of state institutions for the surge in Galamsey activities as he pushes for stiffer measures to deal with the canker.
Our political leaders, the district chief executives have failed us. The regional ministers have failed us. The politicians have woefully failed us.
Also, NPP parliamentary candidates for Isujeman Pius Hajide makes another bizarre promise days after enticing electors with US visa as he pledges to facilitate exit for SHS students.
House as much as this is mine. When you have the time and you have an exit or you have the opportunity to go out.
We'll bring you the view of political communications experts on this latest promise. Also, aggrieved customers of the defunct gold dealership outfit Men's Gold petitions President Akufo-Addo to use seized assets of the company as collateral to secure the release of their locked-up investments. And the Ministry of Youth and Sports directs Ghana Football Association to request CAF to inspect the University of Ghana Stadium for approval, following decision by the Continental Football Governing Body to withdraw approval of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, compelling the country to look for an alternative stadium. We have details of these and many more.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Ridge and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM.
Thanks for choosing Star News. Now, local governance expert Dr. Frederick Odro is blaming the collective failure on the part of state institutions for the surge in Galamsey activities. The distraction of water bodies as a result of illegal mining has reignited conversations about dealing with the menace. Already, organized labor has threatened to lay down their tools at the end of September if Galamsey is not halted. But Dr. Frederick Odro blames the inaction of state institutions and the complicity of some state actors for the increase in illegal mining activities. He spoke on Morning Star.
All that we are doing will be playing to the gallery. We are not tackling the issues from the root. And I think we failed ourselves as a people. Yes, the biggest responsibility would rest with the president. But then as a people, we failed ourselves woefully. From the national level to the local level, we failed. Our chiefs have failed us. Our political leaders, the district chief executives have failed us. The regional ministers have failed us. The politicians from both sides of the political divide have woefully failed us. So there is a failure. The national institutions, if you look at the police, they've been compromised. The military has been compromised. Every institution that has got anything to do with fighting this menace has failed. So let us make this admission. And then politically, there's a huge failure, because if we can have politicians, yes, there are people in government who are complicit in this, but if we also have people in opposition going around Galamsey side promising that the people will be allowed to continue their work if there should be a change of government, that is a huge failure. So now let us make this national admission. But of course, I put the biggest blame on the president. And then we should begin to reset as a nation.
Meanwhile, political aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia Kofi Tonto says demand for ban on small-scale mining is needless because the activity is backed by law.
I sit here as a young person and condemn in no uncertain terms persons involved in galamsey. It is absolutely wrong for anyone to mine illegally, especially in our water bodies. I condemn it fully. So I support any call that says that we should intensify the fight. I've seen the statements on banning mining, etc. And I've seen ban galamsey. Galamsey is already illegal. So I don't see how you can ban an illegal activity again. Then I've seen comments on ban mining in forest reserves. That I think is a right call because it's a forest reserve and it's called a reserve for a reason. So we should protect that. I've seen a ban in water bodies. Certainly, I'm all for it. But I have a challenge with saying that we should stop all forms of mining. The law allows people to legally mine. So if persons are legally mining, I don't see why we have to necessarily stop them to be able to fight against illegal mining. So I think that was a bit of a stretch.
Well, he's also urging labor unions to demand from political parties their plans to halt the menace.
And I also want to implore unions to go beyond just saying that we should ban. I think the union should call on both political parties, the leading political parties, to make their position on the issues very clear. Very, very clear. Precisely what they are going to do when it comes to illegal mining. Because you see, political parties must be honest and truthful so that we can all fight a fight. The fight goes beyond politicians. It includes our chiefs, all traditional leaders, community leaders, and the people who live on those lands. But we have to show leadership and then bring all these people on board. That is why in our bold solutions, we have put out measures that we feel will help resolve the issue. But because of time, I will not be able to go into it. So I think political parties we must, especially the two of us, come together and condemn it and put out a statement that we condemn all forms of illegal mining. And we all agree that when we come to power, we will stop all forms of illegal mining. That way, one political party will not secretly go into the bushes and go and lie to the people. That is what makes the fight difficult.
But the NDC's Deputy Communications Officer Malik Basintali disagrees. According to him, the governing NPP is solely responsible for the chaos.
See, you have destroyed over 38 forest reserves in this country, and you are not ashamed of your government. You sit here and you want us to make it a political matter. You people say this. And what I even heard him say that I cringed was that they should ask both political parties to declare their stance. Which stance again? Then it means you've admitted that your government has failed. And if Mr. Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line, he ought to resign. Why? The footages are available. I had never seen in my life, to the extent that even at Osino, there's a house in the middle and they have chopped around the house. And I wonder how the people go out. Maybe they use a ladder. And you will see machines working and government officials use those roads. And you have the power to prosecute them. And you come and tell me state-owned agencies should invite both parties to come and declare their stance. Declare which stance? Fight it. You are in government. Why?
Yeah.
When Eko said party Hinsika with John Bodo, that is why they are doing galamsey. They seized excavators, more than 500. They sold about 300 to themselves. Sold. And lied to us, they couldn't account for it. You come and tell me to come and discuss with you on galamsey.
Well, news coming in indicates that the members of the National Food Suppliers Association have massed up at the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company. The association argues that the action is imperative because government has failed to settle the over 2 years arrears owed its members. My colleague Prince ACN is currently at the Buffer Stock Company Limited and joins us over the phone lines for some more updates. Prince, what more can you report?
So, Nadima, members of the National Food Suppliers are currently at the Buffer Stock Office. They are demanding that they want them all our arrears owed them to the government release the funds to them. They will not go. They came here, I think, speaking to some of them off camera. who says that they will speak to the media after they have met the CEO and then outline how the government will pay the arrears owed them. So they said they came here for almost 2 hours now. They met the CEO, and then he drove off that he's going somewhere and then he'll be back later. So as I speak to you now, they are all sitting outside the premises, or they are in the premises, but they are waiting for the CEO to come and then have a word with them. Until the CEO comes, they are saying that they are only want to engage the CEO on this matter. They are not ready to engage any official on this matter. So they are sitting outside waiting for the CEO to come and then have a conversation with him. As I speak to you now, their numbers are not really huge. So there's only one security man here who has given them seats for them to sit on it so that they wait for the CEO to come so they have a word with them. So as I speak to you now, all the suppliers who are here today are all women who are sitting, and some came with their babies, and some of them and there are some 6 months, some even 1 year who are waiting for the CEO to come. They have a
But Prince, if I understand you correctly, the CEO said that he has another meeting, and so they should wait for him at the premises. When he returns, he'll deal with the situation, right?
Absolutely. So they are
And
all sitting here waiting for him.
so they calmly agreed. I'm guessing it's a calm environment.
Yes. But however, they are saying that they only have issue with the CEO, so they will not allow any official here to engage them on this matter. They are waiting for the CEO. So if he will even come here around 4 p.m., they will still sit here and wait for the CEO to come.
But what if he doesn't come? I mean, do they intend on sleeping there?
So that is another thing that we are yet to find out. Now, when they came, the CEO
Right.
just left them. So they are waiting for him.
All right. Thank you for those updates. Prince ACN is my colleague reporting on the news coming in from the Ghana National Buffer Stock Company, where some members have massed up there to speak to the CEO regarding some arrears owed them. But away from that, aggrieved customers of the defunct gold dealership outfit, Men's Gold, have petitioned President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to use the seized assets of the company as collateral to secure the release of their locked-up investments. According to the customers, after years of prolonged legal battles with the company's owner, their livelihoods have been severely impacted, resulting in shattered dreams and, in some cases, even loss of lives due to the inability to afford proper medical attention. Here's Frederick Forsen, who is the public relations officer of the aggrieved customers, presenting their petition.
To respectfully request His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, to give us a financial bailout and appoint a receiver to ensure that all Men's Gold customers are paid before 1st November 2024. Today marks exactly 6 years when Men's Gold was collapsed, and ever since this unfortunate and unforgettable event occurred, hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians, both home and abroad, have had our lives shattered. We have recorded over 226 deaths, 5 of whom were reported to have committed suicide. There are some who have gone insane, and sadly, their situation has driven them onto the street with no hope of their returning home. There are countless number of orphans, widows and widowers, and broken families, as if we live in a world of eternal darkness and hopelessness. Our dreams of a better life, personal and corporate expectations have been knocked down by the catastrophic closure of Men's Gold without the care to protect and secure our investment. All attempts to retrieve our locked up investments in Men's Gold have not materialized. We are duly aware.
Let me bring in my colleague, Calvin Powell, who's currently with the protesters. Calvin, describe the nature of the protest for us.
Well, today's protest was more or less a solemn one. It looked more or less a funeral protest because the protesters were so overwhelmed by their plight and they couldn't even make any form of noise to express their emotions and all, because it's been 6 years according to them, and some of them have to rely on their churches, friends, and some unknown philanthropists to either feed or pay their children's school fees. So they actually started from the International Press Center through to the Jubilee House, where Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations by the name of Emmanuel Bosma came to receive the petition on behalf of the president. And he expressed his gratitude for how patient they have been the precarious situation they find themselves in, and he promised to convey their message to the president.
Well, Calvin, let's have a listen to the Deputy Chief of Staff.
On the face of it, it's a very laudable. You came here with a suggestion. We out 6 years, honestly, is quite a long time.
We apologize for the poor quality of that sound. But Calvin, you were telling us what the Deputy Chief of Staff was saying.
Yeah, he actually empathized with the group, looking at the nature in which they came. It was that kind of a sorrowful one. So he actually empathized with them and said he will convey their message to the president, and he assured them that looking at their situation, the president would act immediately in terms of any action that he would have to take to making sure that their plight is alleviated from the suffering that they have endured for the past 6 years. And he also mentioned that the legal case against the owner of the company, that is Nana Appiah-Mensah, the president is committed, and the Attorney General is doing all the necessary things that should be done legally in making sure that justice is served.
Thank you, Calvin Powell. He's my colleague with the petitioners of the defunct Men's Gold company. But away from that, it's campaign season, and as usual, the air is thick with promises. From the practical and tangible to the gimmicky and extravagant, the spectrum is wide. And then there are the head scratchers, the promises that leaves you wondering if they make any sense at all. Enter Pius Enam Hajide, the embattled former Deputy Sports Minister and current contender for the Isojaman seat. His latest promise, well, free exits for senior high school students in his constituency. GH1 and Starr News' Elikplim Awuku has more in this news desk report.
In the world of elections, promises are often the currency of choice. Campaigns buzz with assurances, some grand, others modest, and occasionally those that seem to stretch the limits of reality. Take, for instance, the recent pledge by embattled former Deputy Sports Minister Pius Enam Hajide, who is vying for the Esojaman seat in the Eastern region. Hajide has vowed to make travel to the United States for the 2026 FIFA World Cup a breeze for his constituents, should he be elected. This promise is not without its complications. Hajide's track record as a travel agent might raise eyebrows. See, back in 2017, he was embroiled in the Australian visa scandal, where individuals allegedly posed as journalists to secure visas for the Commonwealth Games.
Ufri Ghana, na uko Australia, ubetina elupremu 18 hours. Enukrano, nipabi etumidi mechiako.
Though he faced suspension during the investigation, he was later reinstated by President Nana Akufo-Addo.
I received the police report on the Australia visa scandal, which has exonerated the suspended Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports from any complicity in the visa fraud.
In a subsequent interview with Nana Banamwa on GH1 TV's State of Affairs, the former Deputy Information Minister asserted his innocence, claiming he was never involved in the scandal.
She said I led a team of journalists. I didn't lead any team of journalists. I was investigated by the police CID. I was not investigated by a committee in which the president can, through a white paper, reject, accept, or modify, and therefore release the report. When the police conduct criminal investigations about somebody, the police proceed to court if there is evidence, normally.
Now, As the 2024 election looms, Hajide has once again stirred the pot, not only with promises of facilitating trips to the US for the World Cup, but also by pledging to facilitate exits for students in the area should they require them.
House as much as this is mine. When you have the time and you have an exit, or you have the opportunity to go out, and you want to lots of good friends in your school. So exit should not be an issue.
In an exclusive on Starr FM, Hajide defended his promises, arguing that as a leader, it's his role to open such doors for his constituents.
What is wrong with a member of parliament assisting his or her constituents who are capable and
interesting reports there, but we'll bring you the full clip in our subsequent bulletin. But let's engage, let's have an expert view on this and engage Professor Kobi Mensah. Prof, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. I mean, Pius's latest promise is to grant free exits to senior high school students. How does this fall in the realm of an aspiring MP?
No, I think that this is what Pius has displayed is a function of what we're getting in terms of our democratic processes. A lot more people think that once you have the money, you can secure, the PC slot, that's the parliamentary candidate slot of the political party, and you could actually say anything that really would excite the voter and to vote for them to go into parliament. Now, there is nothing like orientating yourself towards your political ideological positions. There is nothing like values. People don't place values in politics. People think that politics is about just say anything. And that's the result that we're getting. Completely unnecessary, completely irresponsible political messaging, wanting to win so you can say anything. But I think that our political parties must take the politics much more seriously. They must take things like orientating their members seriously towards the ideological positions, towards values of society, towards the real needs of the society. I mean, if you had claimed that you would create a lot of jobs in order that you could even, import people to come and do the job, why is one of your members actually saying that it takes some people abroad illegally and to make money and to make a well living and then bring money back home? It is very despicable, to say the least. But that's the results that we're getting in terms of the minimum, qualities that has to be in politics. Very, very despicable indeed.
Prof, I mean, with regard to Pius specifically, I mean, first there was granting visas to the upcoming World Cup, and then now we're hearing of exits. There's these bizarre promises, I mean, as described by many. Would it have any impact on his political fortunes?
We can't call them policies. I mean, it would be disgraceful for us to use the word policy for such a very despicable, messaging. You cannot call it a policy. It's sheer deceit, because you've got young people who, when they have their way, they would want to leave campus without even understanding its consequences. And you have a so-called minister trying to aid, that process just in return for votes. You cannot actually call it a policy. Well, it would definitely have dire consequences on him because if you listen to some of the footages put forward by some of the media houses, I think your outfit, regarding what people in that constituency think of him, majority have actually described him as irresponsible. They've described his promises as deceit. They don't believe in it. And so certainly it would have an implication, it would have an effect on his personality, how people perceive him. But certainly I'm not sure he would win the elections, because when people have seen that it's a deceit, it's a blatant lie, and then of course not to talk about the legality of it, that it's illegal, I don't see any reasonable voter going to vote for him. And it would have a dire consequences for his political future. Obviously, this has been documented. in future, people are going to play it to him, just like they've been playing it to him in the Australian scandal. They have to be responsible. They have to know that they cannot say anything to win elections.
Right. Grateful for those insights. I'm sure we're coming back to you subsequently, because as the campaign heats up, we'll be hearing some more bizarre promises. But that there is Professor Kobi Mensah, who is a political communications expert. Let's do sports now, as the Ministry of Youth and Sports has directed the Ghana Football Association to request CAF to inspect the University of Ghana Stadium for approval for the AFCON qualifiers in October. It follows a decision by CAF to withdraw the approval of Baba Yara Sports Stadium for official matches. Now, the decision means Ghana will have to play the rest of its official matches outside the country. My colleague from the sports desk, Jones Haji, joins me with the details of this statement from the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Jones, what more is the ministry directing the Ghana Football Association to do?
Right, so the ministry believes that the Accra Sports Stadium at this current state meets the CAF requirements. So some few months, the Accra Sports Stadium was inspected and it was rejected. But then the ministry is saying that the reasons why it was rejected, they have fixed those reasons. So they are requesting GFA to go back to CAF and ask CAF that come back and then look at the Accra Sports Stadium. Now, for the Legon Sports Stadium, some few months ago again, it was used for the WAFU Under-17 tournament, and it is a Category 2 game. So they are also asking that let CAF bring in their people to come and check the University of Ghana Sports Stadium.
But is the ministry saying that they were not aware of the poor state of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium?
I mean, they know, because at this moment the stadium has been closed down and then it has been worked on. So it is not as if they don't know; they actually know.
Finally, the sports fraternity, on this, the sports fraternity has been reacting to...
Yeah. So yesterday on the game, we spoke to Sadiq Adams, and he spoke extensively on this issue.
Don't need to even play the Angola game.
Right.
So there was no short space of time. I think that we should have been banned long before the Angola game. This thing to me looks like it was deliberate. And I'm beginning to think that it's been orchestrated by people to get us out of the country so they can benefit in one way or the other. Because, look, the manner in which we have managed the stadium, even if we could not have played the Angola game based on factors such as weather, I would have understood. But we deliberately allowed an event on the field with 17 days to the game. That's what I think is deliberate. We allowed an event with more than 40,000 people in the stadium, with cars being driven on the pitch, with chairs, broken bottles. One of the players got cut by a broken bottle during training. And these things authorities have tried to hide it. It affected the
player of the Black Stars, or
a player of the Black Stars was cut
whilst training.
Jones, how much would it cost the nation to play official matches outside Ghana now?
So according to the numbers, averagely it will cost Ghana at least 1 million to go away from home.
That's a lot.
It is, yes. So let's get to listen to a breakdown of how much it will cost us to fix the pitch and then to play away from home.
We could have spent $200,000. That would be outrageous or bloated to fix Baba Yara. We could have spent $250,000. That's the amount you need to replace the entire field. $250,000. $150 can fit. But because our people are corrupt, let me add 100,000. Now, if we fly them to Morocco, we will need to board flight for like $450,000 to play away game, a game that we would have played at home. So Pate and Co will come here. Then we have another chartered flight at a cost of around $500,000, because one Black Stars game away is $1 million. That's average. So the flight and feeding and hotels will cost us around $600,000. But we could have fixed the Baba Yara Stadium with $250,000 permanently. But we are going to play 1, 2, 3 games. So we should be budgeting around $2.5 million for 3 games. If we are going to play 3 away games, the World Cup qualifiers are coming. So if FIFA comes, they've been lenient to us for a longer period because of the legacy and respect they have for us. So if FIFA says Ghana is playing 3 matches away. Then we have to budget 2.5 million, an amount of money that could have built a whole new stadium.
Interesting, Jones. But how are former footballers reacting to this?
You know, they've come out to say that for some of them, it has been an issue even in their playing days. So we've been speaking to Ajiman Bedu, former Under-20 World Cup winner, and then he has also said that it is a shame that it is happening to a country like Ghana.
CAF have been lenient to us. So lenient. Yeah, because it has been like this since 2008 when we hosted the AFCON. And there we have a good pitch. After that, even on our time, it's not like our time the pitches were that excellent. But the issue is you will talk. Then you will get tired. Then Ghana will be even fed up on you. So this is exactly what will happen. And when I heard it out, I wasn't surprised. I thought even our first game against Angola, they will not allow that. But they were lenient to us, agreed for us to play. But you could see even the interview the coach did. He said one of the players strayed on the pitch and got injured. It's a shame, but I'm not surprised.
Well, that wraps it for sports. That was my colleague from the sports desk, Jones Aji. And that's how we wrap up this edition of Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM. I am Nadima Umar. But for more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. Good afternoon.